What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be going over how to set up TC2000 as a beginner and how to utilize the tools that are on TC2000 to customize the charts to be exactly what you want them to be. So let's get into it. Alright, so this is the way my charts are set up as of right now. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just open up a stock layout and I'm going to go over how to set the charts up. I'm just going to start showing you features so that you can customize your setup to your liking. Alright, so when you open up TC2000, you're going to see something like this, or it'll give you one of these templates. These are just like ideas basically. So I'm going to start with one chart just because I want to show you exactly, like, this is basically like the hardest way of doing it. So if I could show you the hardest way, you'll know basically every feature. So and by the way, all these segments of this tutorial below the video, I will have all the time set up so that you can skip forward. If you know certain things and you want to learn other things, you can skip forward to that exact moment that I discussed that certain thing that you might be like trying to learn or be confused about. We're going to go to this tab right here and we're going to go new tab. That's how you flip between workspaces and you get like new tabs essentially if you want to do something else. But the reason I pulled that up is because this is where we are going to find our presets for our charts, and this is how we're going to create new windows. So if we wanted a workspace that was split horizontally, we would hit split horizontally, and then now you have one tab that's horizontally split so that you can put whatever you prefer up in these sections. Then if you were to hit split vertically, you could split these into two different things, and if you want to get rid of one of them, you can hit delete, and then that will no longer be there. But that's kind of like how you add windows and kind of start constructing your workspace. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to create a chart that's not distracting at all, and I'll show you how to tweak things to your liking so that you can basically see what's important to you and see what's not important to you and just have a very clean cut chart that's going to help you be effective. So let's go to chart. Alright, so let's say we wanted this to be a chart. I already have all my custom ones set up right here, but if you wanted to just hit blank chart, this is going to give you a blank chart. Alright, so this is just like bar graphs. So what you want to do is you want to go right click onto the chart and you're going to hit edit chart properties. This is where you're going to do all of your editing for your chart. Alright, so this is a pretty important thing when it comes to just customizing the way your charts look specifically. Okay, so plot style, right now it's on bar. You know, I don't know anybody that trades on bars, but we're going to switch it to candlestick, and that's going to give you your candles. Alright, so you're going to go open versus close, and that's going to change the colors relative to the open price and the close price of the candles, which is the way I do it. I know there's people, you can do like net change, but that's kind of confusing to me. So what I do for my exact setup is I change my candles to orange, and then actually I have my up bars white, and then I have my down bars orange. So any one of these, you know, like you can do any of these colors for your candlesticks, and if you want to make your own color, there's also like a section over here where you can actually customize your own color if you know the exact like number coordinate of your color. Alright, so that's how you adjust the colors of the candles and the price style. So if you wanted to do like bars, you could do that. If you wanted to do an area for certain indicators or for something that you're watching, you could do that. Right now we're going to stick to candlesticks. Alright, and this is also going to enable you to fill the bars. So like I'll have my down bars filled, but I'll have my up bars like hollowed out, just personal preference. This is going to show today's close, or yesterday's close, sorry, and then show today's open. And so if you adjust those, you can see over here very faintly there's lines coming in showing you the opening price and the closing price, and it's plotted so that you can kind of see where the stock opened and from the previous day close. I do that just to get kind of an understanding of where it opened so that pre-market data doesn't start confusing me, so I can kind of differentiate between those. And then plot opacity, for candles and price, like the main price, you kind of don't want to screw around with the opacity, at least in my opinion. I just keep it on 100. Next tab, we're going to go over to edit plots, and we can just not really deal with that right now. I always keep pre-market data on always, just because I think it helps my trading and it helps me identify pre-market support and resistance areas and patterns that you wouldn't necessarily see if you didn't have pre-market data on. But it's personal preference. So you can have only when it's pre-market, it'll show you the pre-market data, and then once the market opens, it will switch it to always. Or actually, it'll turn it completely off once the market opens, and you won't see the pre-market data except for pre-market. I do have like my pre-market area shaded slightly differently. That's what you can adjust in these blocks right here, just so it kind of sections off on the chart where it's trading pre-market and where the market opens. So that's what that tab is. Comparison, you don't really need to do that unless you're trying to compare like the Dow ETF or SPY, which is the S&P 500 one. If you want to plot that over your charts, then this is how you would do that. So you would have comparison if you wanted to put a certain sector over, like let's say you were watching technology stocks and you wanted to plot the technology sector, like an ETF, over that. You can do it with this color grid. So this is going to this is dealing with the background of your chart. So like this is kind of where it gets more artistic. It stops mattering. If you want a gradient, that's going to transition slowly from one color to the next. So if I did like a tannish orange color into a black, it's going to look like that. Or I can do like a burgundy, and I can have it slowly transition into a black. Or I can swap these, new burgundy up here and black, and have the black at the bottom. This stuff doesn't matter. You can play around with that and figure that out on your own. Something that is slightly more important is the grid lines. I like to see grid lines so that I can see whole number, support and resistance. Like you see right here, this price action was sitting right on the $6 mark. So I think it's important to see your grid lines, but a lot of people will have their grid lines like this. And I would prefer to see the shapes of the candles in the patterns rather than seeing them like trading inside of cubes of kind of prices, which, helps some people. But for me, like speaking for myself, I prefer to see them but have them not be distracting. So I'll put the opacity kind of down like this. And even with the horizontal ones for the days, like it matters slightly less to me because I know which day I'm trading. So I'll turn that one down and then kind of turn this one up slightly more so I can see support levels. And I can see it, but it's not in my face ridiculous. And then this is going to adjust your value of scale. So like if you see on the far right of the screen, the numbers are getting bigger. And then as we decrease it, the numbers will get smaller. That really doesn't matter. Date scale, this is just kind of like you can play around with them yourself. Date to margin is something that is kind of important. So for me, I like to have space from where the stock is trading. Like let's say the stock is trading right here. I like to have space over here to be able to kind of like visualize where the stock could go. I hate when it's like slammed up against the wall, like over here, and it's like I'm watching the stock move like right against the spread and right against the numbers, and it like you kind of can't see where shit is going. So I'll typically increase it to about, it really depends on where the chart's positioned, but I like to do about 30% date till margin. That way I can see where the stock is trading and I have a space to visualize into the close and into the next couple days where the stock could potentially move. It's just personal preference, but that's how you would adjust that. And not a lot of charting softwares have this feature, or at least a lot that I've used before. So the fact that they have this is awesome to me. All right, so that kind of takes care of the coloring and designing. Now you're probably wondering, okay, that's great. We have candlesticks on the chart, but how do we add indicators and moving averages and all that fancy stuff, volume, stochastics, whatever you want to use? Now is when we're going to kind of get into that, and then I'll go over all the tools on the sidebar. Like I said, a little bit later, to talk about like how to draw trend lines and how to implement those onto the charts. For right now, let's go over adding indicators. I'm just going to add the moving averages that I use along with the indicators I use, but you can, by me showing you that, you'll be able to go in yourself and kind of just like see what you want to use and test things out and implement them yourself using these techniques that I've showed you. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go on to the chart. Actually, you know what? Let me fix this and just kind of drag this down here. All right, so let's say this is our chart, right? So we have our chart set up. We're going to right click and we're going to go add plot. This is going to be where you add all of your indicators, moving averages, anything you want on your chart or under your chart or around your chart that's based on price action. Then you're going to want to go into here. All right, so first things first, very simple moving averages, exponential, front weighted, simple moving averages, Hull, whatever you want. I look up simple. I just type in simple. You can type in moving average, but that's how you're going to find them. Click on the stock if you want the moving average to be plotting the price movement of the stock. As we start to add other indicators later on, you'll see how that's kind of important and why I say that. But we'll click that. Now it's going to show us a 50-day simple moving average. That's just like the stock simple moving average. We're going to right click up on this, and all of your moving averages and indicators are going to be displayed right at the top of this chart. All right, so we're going to hit edit. This is going to take us into our editor, the same as we were editing the chart before, but this is for the moving average by itself. All right, so let's say we wanted to have a 13 exponential moving average, right? We would go over to here. We would change that to a 13. Offset, we don't want any. If we wanted an exponential, we would hit exponential, front weighted, Hull, whatever you want. I'm choosing exponential. Plot opacity, same thing as last time. You can adjust this accordingly. And if you want to change the color, I have mine as yellow, so it's perfect. But if you want to do blue or you want to do, you know, like pink or whatever, that's how you'd select it. Okay, so that's moving average. Now, let's say if we want to add another one, we want to add a simple moving average. I'll go back to simple, hit that. Now I could plot my moving average over the other moving average, but what I want to do is I want to plot it over the price action, not the other indicator. But you can have other indicators finding the averages of those indicators, so that's what you're going to have to select between. That's why they ask you this question. I always do it on price action, so I'm going to hit that. Now I have another simple moving average. I'm going to hit edit. This time I'm going to change it to green, and I'm going to change the period to 20. Offset, I don't offset it at all. Simple moving average is what I want, so I'll keep it like that. Plot opacity is fine. Okay, boom. So now we have moving averages. So you can do any sort of moving average work just by knowing that simple thing right there. So if you want to do a 200-day exponential moving average, plot it over this. I'm not even going to do it. You already know how to. What we're going to do now is I'm going to add Bollinger Bands. So let's say you wanted to use Bollinger Bands. There's a couple options. These are the ones that I use because these are plotted right on the chart. And once again, you can put Bollinger Bands on these moving averages themselves or the price action. I choose the price action. I'm going to go in here and edit, and I'm going to change the color right here. I'm choosing red. You can shade the inside. All sorts of features with different indicators. So if you have a preferred indicator, just play around with making it the best for you. You know, obviously we can change the line width if we really wanted to get crazy with it. I don't. I'll keep it thin. Actually, I'll go one up. And then, you know, exponential, you can change everything basically like that. And then volume, same thing. We're going to go in volume. Indicator. Boom. Now we have our volume. Underneath here, I would get rid of this moving average just because I don't want a moving average on my volume. I mean, I can actually see how you could use that, but I don't use it. And then right click on the volume again. If you want to edit the colors, I'll typically do, I forget what I have actually. I think I have blue for green, blue for up candles, and red or orange for down candles. So now let's say you wanted your volume plotted on top of the chart, right? So you'd go to these arrows right here. You click this arrow, and now it's going to give you options to overlay and scale with, or insert here. So if I wanted the volume above this chart, I could hit insert here. If I want to hit overlay, I could overlay it like this. I could overlay and scale with, so it would scale it to this chart. I could also do that, or if I wanted to pin it in a different tab, I could select this. For the sake of the example, I'm going to, oh, and by the way, if you want to get out of the screen, just hit escape to get out of this. If I want to overlay, now we have the volume placed over the price action. And so, you know, I don't trade like that. I have it below it. So now if we want to add a MACD or anything, same thing, MACD. I usually add a MACD. That's kind of what I do. I'll move this, insert here, because I want this on top of my volume. So now this is on top of my volume. I'll hit edit here. We have a MACD and we have volume. MACD, volume, we have all our moving averages, a price action. We've colored our chart the way we want. We have all the indicators we want. We've focused on the grid lines. We know how to overlay ETFs or indexes over your price action. So I think that really tackles it for chart setup anyways. Now we're gonna go over the tool area right here. If you want to buy gold, you can have access to like all of these. I think it's like $300 a year, which is like, I don't know why I don't do it, but I just kind of like got in the habit of just like not really needing it. Like I don't use fibs. I don't use like, although I would want horizontal trend lines. So probably on the next pay cycle, I'm just gonna get it because it's useful. But obviously you have an eraser if you want to erase things. This is going to be how you draw trend lines. So you just click from one point, drag, and then release, and that's going to draw a line for you. And then if you want to move it around, just click anywhere in the middle that's not these two ends, and you're just going to click and drag, and you can drag them anywhere you want. If you right-click on the trend line, you can hit edit, and then this is going to kind of show you like the color of the trend line. If you want the trend lines to extend just forever on the chart, then you can hit extend right, extend left, change the color to that. If I want them to be white, now I have a solid white trend line. But I don't like to do that because then I can't see like the points. So I'll change that to a different color. And then if you want to thicken the line, you can thicken it or you can thin it out. I'll keep mine kind of like right in the middle. If you want this to be your, when you draw a trend line, this is what comes up. Set as default, and then save as default. So like even if I right click, delete, and then I want to go over here and draw another trend line, it's always going to look like this until I change it. And then if I can hit edit and I can temporarily change this one. And then if I make another one, it'll be like the same as the other one. So really depends on what you use more that you can do that with, but that's how you use trend lines. And then this is kind of something I'll do like a note for myself, and I'll be like, you know, short pops into, you know, whatever, 6, 5, 300 shares. So this will kind of like give me a reminder, like if I've done my risk reward already, and I know that I can start scaling in with 300 shares at 650, I'll put a little note right here, and then maybe if I'm not watching the stock or whatever, I'll draw a trend line at that price, 650. Set an alert. If you set an alert, okay, boom. Once the price action goes up through this trend, it's gonna send you an alert and say, hey, LED's just popped, you know, 650, and you wanted to short 300 shares into the breakout of that price level. So that's kind of like just like a quick little thing too that you can do. But yeah, notes, you can obviously edit these too by clicking this little thing, and then you can change the font size right here, change the font color, set that as default if you want, and then yeah, right click, delete to get rid of it. All these are like fibs and anchors and pitchforks and stuff. I don't really use that. Circles, arrows, whatever. So if you really want to get crazy with it, you can play around with those features, but all you really need is notes, trend lines, erasers, and then we have obviously our crosshairs with the anchor point, and then this other one is the crosshair without the anchor point. So that's kind of how you use that. I always use my anchor point just so I can draw like descending triangles with it and see angles and everything. So now what we'll do is we will go over how to set up kind of like a trading layout if you want to be trading on TC2000 itself. Like, I don't recommend their broker just because it's like if you're trying to day trade on TC2000, like I've done it, I did it for about 8 months and it was just like a nightmare. The locates are a nightmare, the fills are a nightmare, so I would not recommend it. But if you did, I will show you a way. If you're just investing or trading small, I'll show you a way to do it. So we'll go back to my main trading tab right here. This is what I trade on each day. So I'll flip between these two. This is how I watch things. So I'll have a 15-minute, a 5-minute frequency to trade on, and then I'll have my daily chart over here. And this is all for one stock too. So I'll be watching this, and then I'll be watching 2 different stocks over here down below. So this is kind of letting me like refer back to like a watch area and be like, okay, these are the stocks I'm watching right now. But when I'm trading something, I'll be looking at this because this is kind of more spread out, and this is going to give me like a way better picture of overall of what the stock's doing, for me anyways. So time frequencies for charts, very simple. You just click anywhere on the chart, and let's say I wanted to look at MMM, which is something I traded today. Boom. You just type it in, and you just start typing, and then just hit enter, and it'll shift all the charts if they're keyed into the same color to that stock. Also, if you create a watch list and you change this color right here, blue symbol lock, to these charts, and all these are blues, anytime you click over here, it's also going to affect these that also have the blue link. Let's say, for example, if I wanted this to have a red link on my other page right here, I have a red link that's on I. Alright, so if I go back to my main trading and I go to the red link, that's going to be on I already. But I can change this one to, let's say I wanted to look at like Ford. Boom, pull it forward. It's not adjusting these windows at all because this is a red tab. As soon as I change this back to blue, boom, it's back to this. So that's kind of how you can key your charts in so that you can use multi-time frame analysis easier without having to adjust each time frequency to that ticker you're looking at. If you don't want any link at all, you can just take all the links off and you can do everything separately. So it's not linked to anything. So if I look forward up here and then that over there, you can change all of them. But I like to key everything in so that I know and can keep track of all of the stocks that I'm trading and keep it really effective. But if we want to trade on this, what we can do is we can open up our chart again, all right? And then let's say we want to add a trading area. We want to add a watch list, and then we want to add a trading area. We're going to go up to this tab I was talking about before, new tab, split this way. Since we already have our chart right here, we want to get rid of this blank tab, so we have a chart here. And then I actually positioned this wrong, but so I can click on that, and I can hit swap, boom. And then I swapped this over here. All right, so now I can select whatever I want over here. So like, let's say I want to split this like this. This is kind of like the way I set mine up. Up here, all you have to do is go hit watch list, personal. You can even do like just like new personal watch list. Click that. Personal. I'll do daily focus. These will be the stocks that I'm focusing on. So add symbol. If you wanted to watch forward, hit enter. Boom. Now you have it linked to your chart on the watch list, which is pretty cool. It just makes everything, all these little things will make it a lot faster. And like this might seem really simple to like a lot of people that are used to this, but if you're not used to this, this is the stuff that kind of takes experience, and it kind of just helps to be told this instead, like, oh, have a watch list and key the colors into the chart so that when you click from one to the other, you can see it right on the chart. A lot of people like have a watch list and then see it and then type it in over here, and it's just like a complete waste of time, or just stuff like that. Anyways, so let's say we have a watch list here. We key the watch list into this chart. Down below here, let's say we want to look at our trading. So we can put our positions tab in. this is going to show you all of your positions that you're in right now. All right, so if I want to make another column down below here, I'll do new tab, split that way, erase this tab. Now I have another tab down here. I'll do trading, or buy order. If you hit buy order, this is going to open up the order confirmation box for you. So this is where you can hit buy, sell, adjust your orders. So if you want to do like a dollar amount, you can do that, or you can do like 1,000 shares, whatever. It'll show you the equity down here for it. Limit, if you want to do a limit order. I'll get it all into these order types in a different tutorial, obviously. This is just how to set TC2000 up and not really use the orders on it, but yeah. And then basically if you want to add a sell one, you hit that, add sell, boom, hit that, add close position, and this is going to enable you to close your position when you have one. Right now it's not showing it because we don't have a position, but if you did, it would show it. And then basically this is like kind of a good place to start setting up your charts. Let's say I wanted to have a 15-minute here, and then I'm going to move this for a second. 15-minute here, and then we want to create a new tab, split this like that, ditch this one right here, chart, day trading chart, boom. I have another chart set up over here. This is going to be my daily chart. I can monitor multiple time frames at the same time and trade shorter term over here and see the longer term overall picture over here. And so between using the watch list, setting the chart up properly, having multiple time frames, and being able to use your orders effectively over here and have a setup that you're comfortable with, yeah, it's definitely important. But yeah, we're doing more tutorials in the future with like orders on this, and then I'll go over each indicator and kind of do indicator lessons on this as well. Just because I think that it's like really important to know your software and not just know what indicators you're using, but like how the indicators work and how they all work in conjunction so that you can actually trade effectively. So I'll be doing more tutorials in the future, but I hope this video helped. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to like the video if you want to support me, and if you want to be notified about future tutorials or any of my videos that are coming out, hit that bell and be notified when I post new content. But other than that, I think that you should be all set using TC2000 and getting started and being able to use exactly what you need. So yeah, stay tuned, and I will see all of you in the next video.